Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Against Gravity. This podcast is brought to you by Picha, and it's still March, and we're celebrating the amazing achievements of women, the strides they are making across the world. Today, on this episode, we're talking about building global brands, the partnerships for growth. How do you partner to grow as a business? What do you do? We have the right person here to speak to you about that. Our resource person, Afua Osei, is our guest. She's an award-winning entrepreneur, partnership strategist, brand growth coach, and a Fulbright scholar and speaker as well. Afua is also the co-founder of Motherland Mogul Media, which owns the digital lifestyle brand She Leads Africa. Hi, Afua. How are you doing?
I'm well. Thank you so much, Henry, for having me. And thank you to the entire Pitcha team for getting me out of bed today. It's because of Pitcha that I was able to get up on time and have this conversation.
We are indeed grateful you got out of bed. Afua,
But this time has been weird. Time is this is not our normal way of working. We're on the phone a lot more. We're on our computers. We are talking to people all over the world. So it's like our normal schedule, it doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't work. So we're all trying our best.
to adjust, late night sleeping and all that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, let's get into a conversation. Let's get to know more about you, Afua. I know you're fully Ghanaian and both parents are Ghanaian, yet you grew up in the US. You described yourself as a rebellious daughter and a competitive mango eater. But how would you describe your childhood growing up in the US?
Yes, I feel so blessed. I feel so blessed to have been able to enjoy. And I think that's where my desire for enjoyment came. Because people are always asking me, what do I want to do? What kind of work do I want to do? I don't want to work. I want to enjoy. And I had a really wonderful childhood. My parents are, I think maybe they're typical Ghanaians, the quiet, low key, just do your work, mind your business, don't be too flashy. And so that gave me the chance to just focus on really quiet things. Love reading books, loved exploring and doing different activities. And that helped me build that creativity, that helped me build that personality and being able to explore different kinds of things. I also have two older brothers and I have two sisters. And so having siblings and growing up with a full house will teach you independence very quickly. It'll teach you that, you know, don't put your food in the fridge if you want to see it tomorrow morning. So, you have to be creative, you have to be innovative. And so I had a really great, warm, and welcoming upbringing that I'm so grateful for.
Amazing. And I also know that, you told SME South Africa that you stumbled into your passion. Your original idea was to read law in the university. However, you sort of diverged into another area, which is public policy and business. Tell us about that spin and how it happened briefly.
Well, I think that for many of us, we don't know what we actually should be doing because we aren't exposed to different options. That line that says you can only be what you see is really powerful, because if you don't even know that a career path exists, if you don't even know that this option is out there, how are you supposed to study for it? How are you supposed to research? How are you supposed to aspire to it? And that can be so challenging. So for me, I knew that I wanted to impact my community and I wanted to help people. So I thought that law and being a lawyer was maybe the only way to do that, or the best way to do that. But as I learned more and I was able to be introduced to new people, I saw, wow, okay, public policy is actually the study of the regulations and the policy that goes into how communities work. And then I learned a bit more and I saw, well, actually, business plays a really significant role into how we connect, how we come together, and the impact you can have. And so it wasn't about just having one type of degree. It was really about, how do I find the best way for me to learn what I needed to learn so that I could do what I needed to do. So I don't think it's changed. Who I am as a person, how I show up in the world hasn't changed. I just think that I've gotten more awareness and I've gotten more information about the best way to go about achieving that.
That's amazing. And there's so many people who indeed they don't really know what they should be doing. they have an idea, but there's more they can do. And I think this advice and lesson from you is to all our listeners. There's more you can do. So explore different paths and find what fits you. And I know after you did your public policy and business, you moved to Nigeria to work with McKinsey and Company. How did you end up in Nigeria, and why did you choose Ghana in the first place?
Don't worry, that's the question that my mother was also asking me. So this was back in 2012, so a very long time ago. I was in business school and I needed a summer internship. And at the time, I was running a bit late in the process. Typically, you have to have your internship set by a certain time, so you can prepare, plan, everything like that. I applied for this program and they said, "We can have you in the program, but there are no more slots left in Ghana." I said, "Oh, what can I do?" They said, "If you still want to do the program, if you still want the internship, then you have to go to Lagos, Nigeria." I had never been to Lagos. I didn't really have many close friends that were Nigerian. But the idea of not having a summer internship was too bad. I couldn't. There's no way as a business school student you cannot have an internship. So I said, "You know what? Let's go for it. Let's see what might happen." Obviously, my mother was so nervous. Everyone was like, "What are you doing there?" But I said, "You know what? It's only an internship. It's 10 weeks. I'll come back to school. It's okay." And I ended up having an incredible time. And in all fairness, I even met a bunch of Ghanaians in Nigeria anyway. So it wasn't like I was just out there
Yeah.
by myself. But at that time, it was so incredible seeing all of the smart, talented, and ambitious Africans from all across the continent in the diaspora who were in Lagos at the time because they were committed to developing the country, developing the continent, committed to growing these economies by using their passions and their skills. And I met people literally from all across the world there. They were the Germans, people from Zimbabwe, people, the Togolese, there were people from Kenya. It was such a diverse time in the community. And that's what got me really excited because I think for us as young Africans, absolutely, we want to go back and support our local communities. But that doesn't mean that's the only place you can go. You absolutely can explore other markets, and that might give you the training, the skills, the expertise you need to be able to eventually go back home or to be able to drive impact. But if you feel as if there's only one space you can go, you because you're Ghanaian, you must go to Ghana. I think that's so limiting.
Right.
And so I feel very grateful that I had the chance to go to a different country to learn, to grow, explore, work there, understand people because I've had a different kind of experience that can add value to all of the new projects that I take on. So basically, I ended up going to Nigeria because I was late on my internship applications, and it ended up changing the entire direction of my life and my career from there.
On behalf of all Ghanaians across the world, we will take that excuse.
But
And
it's only 45-minute flight. It wasn't even far. It wasn't even far.
that's true. And from McKinsey, you established She Leads Africa with a friend. Things moved really quickly for you. You were named by Forbes Africa as one of the youngest power women in Africa. In 2016, Ventures Africa listed you as one of the 25 African innovators to watch out for. And in December 2016, I watched you and your She Leads Africa team ring the closing bell of the New York Stock Exchange, making history as the first African startup to be given that honor. How did that moment feel for you, and what did it change, if well?
That's the beauty of entrepreneurship. It doesn't change anything, right? Oh, I think everyone will say that it's nice and it's encouraging because you need those moments.
Mm-hmm.
You need those moments to remind you that you're on the right track. You need those moments to encourage you and let you know that people see you. But in terms of money in the bank, they don't affect your money. They don't affect your customers. You still have to go the next day to do the work that you need to do. And the only thing that they can do is they can't help you get in front of a new audience. They can help you get in front of potential clients or maybe raise your profile if you want to go fundraise or anything like that. But I really tried hard to make sure that I stay focused on the task at hand and don't get distracted because you'll see that so many people will be reaching out to you for podcasts, for interviews, to write blogs, to do webinars. And you're like, when do you have the time to do your work? When do you actually have the time to do the work that people are excited that you're doing? And so those moments and those accolades are absolutely fantastic because they're great to tell your mom, see, I'm actually doing something here. I'm not just out here wasting my degrees.
Right.
However, you have to keep it all in moderation. And you have to remember that at the end of the day, those things do not pay your bills. They don't pay salaries. They don't enable you to better serve your customers. And so they're not things that you should feel are the most important metric of your success along your entrepreneurial journey.
Whoa, that was a candid answer. I loved it.
I
It's
like to be honest because that's what we're here for, right?
right.
I think there was a time, especially between I think when the African tech and startup ecosystem was really growing between 2013, 2017. Of course, it's still growing, but at that time, there was so many events and pitch competitions and networking and et cetera. And it's like, but if you spend all your time doing that, when do you actually have the time to build the business that you want to build?
Yeah.
And that's why focus is so important for founders. Focus is so critical for people who are just starting out, because if not, you will get distracted by those things that are not going to help move you forward, and you'll have all the articles in the world, but you won't have any money in the bank.
So true. You're listening to Against Gravity, and I'm speaking with Afua Osei, a partnership strategist helping digital entrepreneurs and business leaders think beyond their borders and build high-value global partnerships. Now, if I want to talk about your TEDx talk, I mean, before speaking to you, I watched it. It's titled "How to Go Beyond 30%." You called out the policy of assigning inclusion of women to 1/3% of leadership, workplace population, and even funding. Women are always like, just have a one woman on the board, just keep about 30% women. There's always a percentage that is assigned that is not up to, the middle ground. For leaders who keep saying we can't find enough competent women to equal the number of men in these companies or businesses, how can they go beyond 30% inclusion of women in their business? What's the way forward?
Well, they should go and listen to my TED talk. They should do that one first. But I think the real part is it a priority for you? Because when we prioritize things, we put forth the money, we put forth the resources. It becomes something that we track, we monitor, and evaluate. And so when I hear this from people in organizations, and somebody actually said this to me just a couple of weeks ago, that they can't find speakers for their events. And I'm just like, well, if it was enough of a priority, you would add it to someone's KPIs. You would dedicate the resources. So either you would pay someone to help you do that, you would find the platforms that already have those communities and you'd pay for access. You would attach funding to the programs that you want to recruit people for. We put our money towards the things that we care about. So that's the first one. I think the second one is there are people who've been doing this work for such a long time. And this is a personal frustration point, because for anyone who's focused on community impact, anyone who is focused on cultivating communities of underrepresented groups, whether it's women or youth or people who speak a certain language or individuals who are low income, you spend a lot of energy doing the work. And every other day, you're going to get an email that someone is asking you for free. Please share this with your network. Please send us your referrals. Please do this work for us. And it's like, why are you not valuing us enough to actually pay for that? Clearly, you don't. You want us to do labor for you on your behalf. And I actually got into it a little bit with an organization that says they were recruiting women for their program. And this is an organization that has a lot of money. They've gotten a lot of opportunities, and they were saying that they did not want to. They were like, "Oh, please send it out to your audience for free." I'm like, "But we have, rates for you to pay for, et cetera, et cetera." They're like, "Oh, but we have the same goals because we're both supporting the community." But how long can somebody be doing this work without people actually supporting them? Instagram, having the internet to be on Instagram costs money. So you love the content, but are you going to pay for someone's data? Having the team members to write the content, to do the promo, keeping people excited, all of that is required of an infrastructure of a team. But I don't see the seriousness in organizations that are asking people to do the work, but they don't want to tangibly support them. So I have no sympathy for those people, and I always go back to them straight. And I'm like, here's the cost, here's the fee. If you're serious about this work, you should bring the money. I think uh, the next thing is to actually listen and learn. Many times people aren't asking the right questions because clearly there's something that you're doing that has people not being interested. Either they don't see themselves reflected, they don't see you in the spaces that they occupy, or people are having a bad experience once they join. So paying attention to that feedback and actually applying it is absolutely so critical. But I think it's okay up front to say I'm not sure how to do it, but then you have to move into action and actually start to do the work to make it happen.
Definitely. And as of now, you're one of the most highly sought after partnerships experts. You've helped secure.
I wish, Henry, I wish. Please pray for me.
Look
Pray
at the
for me.
brands
Let
you've
me get
worked
to that
with:
level.
Facebook, Google, Unilever, Nestle, Samsung, Estee Lauder, Visa, L'Oreal. These are really big brands to secure international partnerships with. If we're But for people who are like, I want to just manage my business on my own, I don't want any trouble, I don't want to partner with anyone who come and give me pressure. Why are partnerships relevant for people who are thinking that way?
Ultimately, there will be a limit to how fast you can grow. That's it. That's the first thing, is that partnerships enable you to jump a step, because you're going to get access either to a new audience, to a new way of work. You're going to get access to new insights, but they allow you to jump. That's one. Two, two. This is so critical, is that sometimes you don't know what you don't know. You don't know. You think that this is the only one way for you to work. This is the only one way for you to grow your business. But when you work with other people, you're exposed. The same way I didn't know that all of these careers existed until I got around people who showed me other pathways. You too, as a business owner, you have to pay attention. You have to look and learn. And partnerships are a great way for you to do that. I think thirdly, partnerships are really helpful because many of us think that there's like direct to consumer and maybe selling things on social media is the only way for you to run your business. But that actually to me is more stressful than having a partner, because you can make the same amount of money by having one or two clients as opposed to having 50 or 60 clients. So
Mm.
you also want to really think about your lifestyle, your preferences, your personal, your personality and how you work with people, as well as the type of business you want to run. And ask questions. Some of us, we see other people are doing things, oh, let's just also do. You don't have to do it like that. You can come at it in a different way. So when I thought about the time, because I still had a full-time job, when I thought about the type of people that we wanted to work with, I realized that having corporate clients and having only 2 or 3 people to manage was much better than trying to sell tickets to 10,000 people. It would just make it much easier to do the work. You could accept the money easier. It would require less effort and less infrastructure. So you really have to think thoughtfully about the type of business that you're looking to run.
Definitely. I think naysayers, you should be convinced by now. Um, if is partnerships for every business? Because people are asking, at what level do I get to know, okay, I'm ready for a partnership? Are there certain thresholds, emerging businesses or brands have to reach before they start seeking partnerships?
The first thing I always say is you have to be good at something. This is you can't just come and expect people to pay you big money if you're not good. And that's me being honest and straightforward. You have to be excellent, because people are going to have high expectations of you. So I always recommend that people spend the time to work, to develop, to practice, work with smaller projects, work with smaller campaigns before they go and start to approach those larger clients. The second thing is you really want to spend some time building relationships. People work with people they like, people that they trust, people that they've seen before. So before going and straight trying to pitch somebody something and ask them to do a favor for you, get to know them first. Understand what's important to them. Build that relationship. And I think thirdly, the most important thing is you want to have something that will actually produce results. So you reach out to someone, you build this relationship, and then they're going to be like, okay, what can you do for me? And then you're like, I don't know, I'm not sure. Then you've wasted their time. So you also want to have narrowed down into the products or the services or the experiences that you can actually deliver. But I think that we all have something to bring. We all have something that can help someone else solve their problems. That we all have something that can make life easier. But it really requires you to be thoughtful, to do the analysis, to understand the market, and for you to figure out the best way for you to position yourself.
Definitely. So these things have been met. Now the brand is looking at seeking their partnerships. For emerging brands, leaders, business leaders, what should they be thinking of when negotiating a brand partnership?
So I know people like to talk about money, and I think money is very important. However, I don't want us to get upset and obsessed with what other people are earning. this whole pay my word, they need to value me, et cetera, et cetera. I think the most important thing is for people to feel happy and secure with what they offered. That's the first. You don't want to feel as if someone has cheated you, or that someone has been, like, someone has taken advantage of you. So you want to make sure that you feel happy about that. I think also you want to think about what kind of impact are you going to bring. That requires the research. So someone who wants to someone if someone comes to me and they're like, "Oh, I need your help in doing a $10,000 deal." But then they want to pay me $10. I say, "Huh? I don't understand. The math is not adding up because you want to have 1000% impact, but you only want to pay a small amount." So the same thing for you is you should actually calculate and think about as best as you can what is the impact that you're going to create for them at the other side. How are you saving them money, saving them time, improving their customer relations, helping their employees be more happy? Whatever it is that you do, try your best to calculate what that benefit is to them long term, because that'll help you figure out what the numbers are. You also want to be clear on what success looks like. And that's how you put that into your contract so that there's no confusion at the end of the day about what we agreed to, and that you have it be very clear. And I think lastly, you always want to have a legal agreement. Make sure that it's something that's signed and that it's confirmed, and that everybody knows this is what we're working to. And so you avoid any type of dramatic stories at the end of the day, long term.
And that part, I've noticed that a lot of time I've observed people go into partnerships without the legal instruments, without the legal agreement, and it's just word of mouth and it doesn't end well. So really grateful for the hacks you're giving the Afua. This is Against Gravity. We're speaking to Afua Osei. She's a partnership strategist helping digital entrepreneurs build the skills, systems, and confidence to work with corporate clients of their dreams and get into that partnerships they are looking at. Now, IFO runs a global partnerships playbook. This is an 8-week coaching program for securing consistent, profitable partnerships that you are looking for as a business leader or the entrepreneur. But how exactly does a masterclass help to achieve, the profitable partnerships you're looking at? And how can anyone be part IFO?
Yes, well, if anyone wants to be part of it, they can't, because I'm currently revamping that structure.
Okay.
But they can always reach out to me via Instagram or via my website. But the most important thing that I've seen is that a lot of people don't know where to start. As you said, they have a desire, they want to expand, they want to grow, they want to move forward, but they're like, where do I start? And that is what the beauty of coaching and support and trainings will help you do. They will help you go from point A to point B. So I like to help people go through this process. First, do you have the right perspective and mindset around working with global partnerships? Secondly, have you thought about your product? And as I said, your product or your service has to be really good. And then third, what's your process? Some people get so upset. They reach out to someone, they don't hear from them. They're like, the person ignored me, they hate me, blah, blah, blah. No, people are busy. They don't have the time. So you have to have a process to track who have you reached out to, what have you sent to them, how's the conversation going, and moving it along the sales cycle. You also want to look at your profile. Will people see you and believe that you're an expert and that you can deliver? And you definitely want to build your relationships and get in front of the right people. So that is what I like to support and coach people on, taking them through each of the steps so that they can do it without me. I don't ever want people to be working with me forever. Absolutely not. Build the structure, do the work, get the deals, move on with your life. So that's how I like to support people. But you but you absolutely need to spend the time really mapping it out and getting started and putting those structures in place so that you can have it grow and scale as a sustainable form of revenue for your business.
Definitely. So reach out to Afua say at Hello Afua on Instagram. I love your content. There's so much to learn every time. So reach out to her if you're looking at being coached by her on partnerships and get that done. Against Gravity is mostly about challenging moments. I don't know, securing partnerships can be a whole lot of work. What has been the most challenging partnership deal to seal so far from your experience?
So the most challenging one was actually the first one because I had absolutely no clue what to do. I don't know why there wasn't more people talking about this, but I really was just making it up as I went along. And what I see a lot of people do, which I definitely did, is I was saying yes to everything. Every single client request, can you do this? Yes. Can you do this? Yes. Can you do, not thinking about what the team was able to deliver, not thinking about the time constraints, not thinking about the money. And it was just so frustrating because I realized that I didn't stand up for myself. I wasn't standing up for myself and I wasn't standing up for my business. And so, if you're listening to this and you're concerned, I know many of us are scared because we're like, we don't want them to go away. We don't want to lose the deal. So, I don't want to push back and I don't want to complain too much. But first and foremost, you are the expert. You are the one with the skills, with the expertise that knows how to get this done. So you have to trust yourself and you have to trust that your expertise will produce business results. You also have to remember that if they're even talking to you, they have an interest in working with you. So don't be afraid to have a bit of a backbone and to push back against those things that you don't like. I also think it's so important that you bring other people along with you. It can be intimidating, but have people that support you, whether it's a team member, whether it's a friend, so that you're not negotiating by yourself. But the worst partnership deal I ever did is when I didn't defend and I didn't advocate for myself and I felt as if they had more power than I did. And absolutely not. It doesn't matter the size of the company, it doesn't matter how big the brand is. You still have value, you still have a lot to bring to the conversation, and that matters.
Definitely. We're speaking to Afua Osei. There's so much knowledge, so much resources you're sharing on our topic, building global brands, partnerships for growth here on Against Gravity. Thank you so much for all of these knowledge you've shared with us. Afua, let's, on a rather lighter note, have you following your campaign hashtag Joshua Challenge. This is a social media challenge on the premise of Joshua 1 verses 9, which reads, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." It has, resonated with so many of your followers, with over 700 people, sharing their testimonies about their courageous experiences going for really, challenging uh, things and actually getting through with them. Why did you invent the Joshua Challenge and what do you hope to achieve with it?
So even today, it doesn't matter how many brands I've worked with, I still get nervous. I still know how challenging it can be to put yourself out there. And I think that so many of us are holding ourselves back from achieving all the things that we're supposed to achieve, from fully stepping into our purpose because we're scared. And at the beginning of the year, as I was reflecting, as I was praying, I came across this verse and I realized that this is the kind of energy that I want to have for this year. And if it works for me, it might be helpful to other people. So I'm so grateful that so many other people were interested in it as well, because I saw that a lot of us just need somebody to say, you can do it. You can do it. It doesn't matter the outcome, because sometimes it'll be a positive outcome, sometimes it might be a negative outcome. But regardless, you can go out there, you can have these conversations, you can start to build these relationships, and you never know what might come from it. So I think that we can all be impactful in different ways. It doesn't have to be in a very high profile way. It can just be by sending an encouraging verse to somebody and letting them know, go ahead, send that email, send that message, move forward. So that's the desire behind the challenge. And I have been overwhelmed by the successes. I didn't even know that everyone else was out there needing this kind of support just like me, but it's been so encouraging to see people stepping in saying, I'm going to be strong, I'm going to be courageous, I'm going to have the confidence to reach out, to make these connections, to make it happen, and to go from there. So it's been an incredible experience, and I'm excited to see how it grows and how it evolves. I won't continue it. I think I might try it maybe once every 6 months or once a year, so that people really come and they have energy and they know that this is my time to be out there, to make these connections, to expand and to grow.
That's the power of inspiration, the power of motivation, the power of fearlessness. And for me, this is my Joshua challenge. I was like, can I really get Afua Osei on my podcast? Let me just try. Let me keep trying. Let me follow up. And it's happened. So thank you.
There you go. So it works. You have to try your best, and you never know what might happen.
Thank you for bringing that inspiration to hundreds of people. And if I think one question a lot of people will be asking us at now, looking at your profile, you built a really, global service career, consulted on political campaigns, communications. You worked in Michelle Obama's office in the White House. You've traveled and worked across more than 40 countries. Do you have plans of running for political office sometime in the future?
No, I do not. Absolutely not. I think that in every single space that we're in every single field, we can create an impact. We can create an impact for our communities, and we need everyone to do it. I think in many communities, we're like, oh, the politicians should do this, politicians should do that. The politicians should absolutely do their work because they have a responsibility that they've signed up for. But to have a successful community, to have a positive, enjoyable, and incredible space, everyone needs to do their part. So right now, I'm focused on how can I do my part from a business, from a media, from a technology perspective, the same way that Pitcha is doing its part from a representation, from a photography, from a visual imaging perspective. We all can use our skills, our talents, and our gifts to make this space better and to encourage and support each other. So right now, I don't think that politics is the direction for me, but I am excited to be of service to those who have decided that that's what they want to do and supporting them and doing their work, because as citizens and as community members, we all need to be involved.
Oh, great. Newsworthy. All right, this is still Against Gravity podcast. It's been an interesting discussion. We're over 30 minutes in and we're about winding down. So we've had a great discussion on building global brands, partnerships for growth. For many business leaders who are listening, partnership managers in companies, what are your parting words to them on how you can help them achieve the brand partnerships they dream of and how they can also reach you on that?
I truly believe that we all have something to offer. If you are able to solve a problem, then there is a corporate client or a brand partnership opportunity that is out there for you. From top to bottom. I don't think that you have to be an influencer. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to have a million social media followers to be able to work with businesses. If you're able to solve a problem for someone and do it in a creative and interesting way, then you should view yourself in that mindset. So the most important thing is to realize that this opportunity exists and it exists for you. Be good at what you do. That's important. I need us to be good. Let's not go into these spaces, with mediocrity. No, we need to be good and we should be excellent. And beyond that, we should be focused on impact and really being of service. And if that speaks to you and if you're interested, I'd love to see you on Instagram. Please feel free to follow me at Hello Afua on Instagram and all social media platforms. Also, please check out my website. I share ways that I can support you in terms of coaching and consulting you, your team, or actually, being your personal partnerships officer and helping you build out that strategy. But regardless if someone works with me or not, I want people to see themselves differently. I want them to view this as this unattainable. I think I'm special, but I'm not that special. If I can do it, others can absolutely do it for themselves, for their businesses, and for their brands. And I'm excited to see more African businesses. I'm excited to see more people from the diaspora bring their culture, bring their community, and bring their creativity to bear to help these companies achieve their goals.
Thank you so much, Afua Osei. Thank you. Afua Osei is an award-winning entrepreneur, partnership strategist, brand growth coach, and a speaker. We'll be speaking on building global brands, partnerships for good. Thank you so much for coming on Against Gravity. We've learned so much. This is a whole teaching moment for us.
Thank you for the opportunity. And I'm really excited to see how everyone who listens to this podcast is going to go and make it happen.
Definitely. So take up the Joshua challenge, go for whatever you want. Whatever is stopping you is not impossible to clear. So take that step, take that leap of faith and make it happen. And thank you to Afua Osei for inspiring that as well. So thanks for listening to Against Gravity. My name is Henry Devon. Until next time on this podcast, don't forget to follow us at peacherstock.com. We are producing this podcast. And also follow Afua on Instagram at Hello Afua or send an email at afua@afuaosei.com. So thank you so much for listening and have a good one. Bye.